It's a Woman's World is brought to you by NCB Capital Markets, Red Stripe, Toyota Jamaica, M-Style XP, Phase 3 Productions and Heather Lane.
I get up, I am woman, I ain't got no time to waste now. Won't keep walking with my head down, no, oh, oh, oh. I am woman, it's a woman's world, and I live my life on purpose, oh, 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 oh. Woman to woman, this is what we're about to do now. Shaping the future, this is our world.
Welcome to It's a Woman's World. I'm Kareen, and joining me are Stacey and Ty because, well, where else would they be? But ladies, today the question is, are some relationship matches made in heaven while others are like pulling teeth? What do you think?
Like bliss or bangarang, right?
Either one or the other.
You need a little bit of bliss and bangarang. Keep it interesting.
No, me don't need any bangarang.
I need
know,
some
right?
amount of bangarang.
I have had enough of bangarang. I don't want no
That's
more.
when you have too much bangarang.
Guys, this is going to be an interesting discussion because today we're talking about deal breakers in relationships. Right after this break. Make sure you come back. Welcome back to It's a Woman's World. According to various American-based studies, women prefer not to date men who lie, cheat, steal, or have a history of intimate partner violence, while men tend to pass on women who smoke, are too needy or too independent, or just daft or know-it-alls, which kind of makes it appear as if women can't really seal the deal. Anyway, today Stacey, Ty, and I will be conducting our own mini survey on the subject of relationship deal breakers. Joining us are lifestyle vlogger Shalane Smith and broadcaster Rodney Campbell. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. The first couple that you listed sounded pretty standard. So I want to know from both of you, what's the most ridiculous deal breaker you've ever heard?
A guy told me once that he invited a girl over his house and it was untidy and she didn't tidy it up. And so he knew that she was my wife.
What are you saying to me?
Yeah, I said, well, you had, in which I told him he had some nerve to invite somebody over my dirty house.
My ridiculous deal breaker would be if him pillows don't match him sheets.
Or if him don't have a bedhead. I've heard this before. If you don't have a bedhead,
no, if you reach a certain age and you don't have a bedhead, like...
What that say?
Let's get back to the list of your five
Write down that
top 5 deal breakers. Rodney, your top 5 deal breakers.
Yeah.
At the top, you put infidelity. Why?
Well, I mean, if I'm really yours, I might want 100 other women in my mind, but I'm yours. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'd rather have 100 women and don't settle down. But if I settle, I'm good. You're the 100 one. So it's when you go off the rail, I'm done. Yeah.
But interestingly, Shalane, you don't have infidelity on yours for your top 5.
Yeah, no, a lot of us, we talk and society says, infidelity is a deal breaker and it's the end all and be all, but 8 out of 10 people don't leave.
It's true.
And even the men, they don't leave.
Yes.
And man will make, society say, well, a woman give me bun, I'm going to leave her. But a lot of times they work it out. And these are things that I have observed with my friends and myself. We talk a good talk.
Right.
Any man give me bun, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Girl, that's not how love works.
As I said, stay. It's
checked
done.
out.
That's the difference, I think,
So
with men a lot of the
emotionally
time.
gone.
So you're right. We're still in the vehicle
Right, so
going on the road.
I guess it's an interpretation of what a deal breaker is. For me, a deal breaker is where I'm going to cut and go,
you're done.
cut and clear, where you're saying you just kind of clock out.
The truth is that we're not really honest with ourselves about that, especially infidelity. Most of we not left.
A true man.
We not left.
You both had disloyalty.
Yes.
Is there a difference between infidelity and disloyalty?
Yeah, man. You can be disloyal and never have committed infidelity.
Absolutely.
Give us an example.
You could, to be loyal first and foremost, is not to always agree with me on that kind of thing.
Right.
Loyalty is, you're with me, it doesn't mean then that, guess what, for everything you go to your mother, for everything you go to your friends, and then you come to me, I'm this third wheel kind of person, and you will only be there for me in the event of other variables sort of not being important at the time.
Yeah.
But you'll never sleep with another man. Oh, okay. Well, truth be told, in many ways you've slept with a lot of other people.
Right.
I saw one on Rodney's list that I didn't see on Shellan, and I thought that was interesting. You had hygiene issues, and generally women talk about that more than the men.
Yeah. For me to meet you as a grown woman who doesn't care very much about herself, and this is not just about who bathe or who not bathe, who use roller, and who, it's an all-inclusive concept that you cannot feel confident taking off your clothes and have me sit down with you as a grown man to say to you, care about you.
I want to hear Shellan's response to that.
No, I agree with him, but for me, you can't even reach there. And that's why it wasn't on my list. Like if I'm speaking to you and I'm smelling your breath, I am going to find a way to exit stage left. If
the left.
It could have been an off day. They could have just had something garlicky.
That's unfortunate. No, you have garlicky.
And then you have...
And then you have bad breath.
Halitosis.
It's
Guys,
rough,
what about
so-
sexual compatibility?
Yeah.
That's, I mean, yeah.
Rodney mentioned it on his list, but
Isn't it something that you
Shellan
can
didn't.
learn?
I think so. Oh.
Listen, let me
so,
tell you
Rodney?
something from a woman point of view. Enough man need to know this. We'll learn here. We're learning.
It's not
You
compatibility
guys
you
don't.
learn, you know.
Is what?
It's ability you learn.
Oh boy, no. I
so
think,
explain, what's the
Explain,
difference?
Rodney.
yeah.
Because if you and I match, but I need you to be better, it never means that we weren't compatible. You just needed to raise your level, or I needed to raise my level.
Or was it that
When
we
we're not
were
compatible, it no matter
attractive?
where you know, you could have flipped, bomb, spring, tilt a world, up garden, something. It just now.
So what is it that makes it compatible?
Yeah.
This is where I think
you know 140 plugs and 240, 120 volts and 240, they both create electricity. Both not compatible. One will
So-
blow your bulb, and the other one will just give you good light. And then you have bridge light.
Yeah.
Yeah, good breeze and the light just gone.
I know.
So as Rodney talks about the bridge, we are going to take a short break and come right back. It's a woman's world.
I get up, I am woman, I ain't got no...
You're watching It's a Woman's World, and we've been having a fascinating conversation about relationships. We have Rodney Campbell and Shellan Smith. And the topic today is deal breakers. Going to you first, Shellan. You talked about verbal abuse, disrespect, as two things on your list of deal breakers.
Right. You know, sometimes I hear people argue with each other, and that could, you know, like couples argue, and the names they call each other, how they talk to each other, and the things they bring up. And I'm like, there's no way I could, you know, talk back to that person. Like, I would be done.
Right.
And so that is very important to me. I think respect. You can disagree, but you can, and you can get heated, and you can argue. You can even use bad words, but there is a certain level of disrespect that I can't tolerate.
Right.
And also, verbal abuse, I think, is very important because you have men who they'll see a woman, they want her, but then if a woman look too good or if she's too successful, they try and cut her down a little bit. And I think you have to be able to recognize those things.
Shellan, I'm curious about, you mentioned meanness and unreliability as deal breakers for you.
Yeah, and it's so funny because when I say meanness, people always think it's money. Well,
Right.
really, I don't.
That's what I assumed.
No, I
have
don't
to
like.
tell you.
I don't like a monetary, like somebody who's mean, tight to their pocket. Like I won't like that. But that's because I'm not that way. If we're in a relationship, you know, I'm the type of person I go out and see something, I say, oh, so and so might like that, and get that for them. So that's one of, people talk about love languages. That's one of my love languages. I like things.
Gifts.
I like to gifts that show that you are thinking of me.
Right.
You know? But meanness to me is that it ties back into the disrespect and the verbal abuse. Just you have some people who are mean-spirited and they might treat you like a queen and they might treat you like a princess, but you hear them speak to other people and it's just like,
Right.
you know,
Are you
wait.
really nice?
Yeah. And unreliable means that I need you to show up. And because I'm going to show up for you, so I need it to be reciprocated.
Are there deal breakers that it's worth trying to
Depends
work
how much
through?
you like the person.
And it depends how much the deal breaker is ingrained
Right.
in who they are.
Because you have some
Right.
people who can't change.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, there are things you do because you've never really
Been
thought
exposed.
it offensive
Right.
to somebody.
Nobody said, you know,
And
hey,
then
this is
and
the
then
thing.
it also means that when I tell you that, look, this is not how normal people behave.
Right.
Are you receptive? You know, and not like I'm shouting at you, but if I sit you down and I say, hey, when you speak to the waitress like that or the waiter,
Yeah, that's not nice.
that's really unbecoming.
As I tell you,
Do you listen?
men tell you who they are in 5 minutes.
Believe him.
I'm gonna disagree with
No,
you with
when I
that.
said that,
There is
'cause Sheila
nobody
were talking
more
about this.
deceptive.
No.
There is nobody more deceptive
Than a man.
Who wants
Fine.
a woman?
But
Than a man.
But I was saying that
Man
a
who
lot
go
of the
church.
time, the man who sit down and 3 guys are play violin, champagne, greatest dinner, view of the city. You enjoy the night. If you remember the moment he spoke to the waiter,
Yes.
then 3 months and 6 months down the line, you can't say, you never know that him have this drunkenness.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, to all the women watching out there, whatever the vice the man that you are attracted to is guilty of, Dr. Michael Abrams in our Man to Man segment says, whatever you do, do not fall for this type of man.
Some time ago, I wrote an article titled No Breed for Jankro in the Gleaner newspaper. Yeah, I know. The title sounds crass, but I wanted to get people's attention because the topic is a serious one. In a nutshell, the whole thing was about women not reproducing with men who are disgusting and worthless, what we in Jamaica would call jankro. And if you are really at the bottom of the barrel, you're a jankro. There are several reasons why this scenario should be avoided. 1, the man might leave you. I know many women feel that they just want a child and they can do it on their own. And many have raised children alone successfully. But it is unfair to the child. Children thrive much better when they have stable fathers in their lives. And absent fathers can do a lot of damage. For example, girls who grow up without fathers are at risk of performing poorly in school and are at a greater risk of engaging in sexual activity early and becoming pregnant as teenagers. And boys who grow up without fathers are at a greater risk of joining gangs, among other things. 2, if the man stays, his jankro ways can negatively affect his offspring. Children tend to do better when stable fathers are around. But if the father is present, but abusive and disrespectful, especially to the mother of his child, the child can be traumatized. And 3, whether the man stays or goes, if he is very dysfunctional, some of the, jankro genes can be passed on to the offspring. Children with these dysfunctional or antisocial traits may face more obstacles and drama in life. In addition, managing these kids can be difficult, which can make parenting a major challenge. In all these cases, the children are at risk of being affected, and if they are, when they become adults with their unresolved issues, they are likely to traumatize their own children, and the cycle of dysfunction keeps rolling along. We owe it to our children to provide the best environments in which they can grow and be nurtured. And this advice is not only for women. This goes for men too. Not all women make good mothers. Some man not for breed skettle either. But that is for another discussion.
I get up, I am woman, I ain't got no time to waste now. Won't keep walking.
welcome back to It's a Woman's World. Before the break, we were discussing how to not pick up a man that could potentially cause us a lot of stress. However, most women will eventually settle on and get married to the right man. In those cases, we need an expert like Jodianne Bonito, who is the corporate wealth advisor at NCB, to guide us on how to navigate finances and marriage. Jodianne, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so first things first, Jodianne. Should the money and finances talk happen before we get married? Or is it okay to make the plunge and then discuss
Wing it?
No, it's important to have the discussion before.
Okay.
As we're well aware, aside from infidelity,
Yes.
finances or incompatibility of financial management is a leading cause for divorce.
And what do you talk about exactly?
And so it's important that you discuss basic things, which we probably didn't realize how important they are.
Yeah.
The day-to-day operations of how we run our business, or our monies rather.
Yes.
And so who would pay the bills? Do we pay it jointly? Do we have a joint account? So you look at financial goals.
Should you have shared goals?
It's important to have shared goals. Like anything, you can't have a team and there's no synergy.
Yes.
So you're going to have an issue. So the financial goals, you look at home ownership, if
Right.
it is that you don't have a home jointly. You look at when do we start to have a family? You look at retirement. I mean, often we think we're too young to have the discussions about retirement, but it's very important to start early. We're looking at budgeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not just starting a budget, but tracking the budget.
Should I declare my income?
It's important to be open
Yes.
and honest.
Okay.
It's important that both of you are open.
So if you are declaring your income, should you also declare the debt that you bring into the relationship?
Very important. And so oftentimes we get into a relationship and we don't really know where our spouses are
Yeah.
financially, because it's a very hard discussion to have. It's not as easy as, oh, children, believe me. Children is probably an easier discussion to have than, honey, I have a $2 billion
Right.
debt.
I could
can
see
be
that.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I could see that.
That could be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
important to have the discussion because it is going to affect you in your marriage.
Right.
And so debt incurred usually prior to marriage is not necessarily yours, but it's important because this is how it will affect you. If it is after marriage, you decide, okay, my husband said, let me add you to my credit card. Any debt incurred prior to the marriage or prior to your name being placed
Is
on
your
that
debt now?
is your debt.
Yeah, you mentioned the joint account, which is very important. Honey, I hope you're listening. Do you recommend that couples have joint accounts?
Yeah, I do actually. And so what the purpose of the joint account needs to be established on the onset. Why are we having a joint account?
So I can access his money. Oh no, sorry.
That's not it.
Rewind.
So the joint account it could be, okay, this is the account where we pay our bills. So I put in my portion, you put in your portion. It could be for retirement. And so both of you have the responsibility to ensure that it is managed well.
Okay.
Still very important to have your individual account because you need your own financial independence.
Vex money. Get Vex account.
Right. So it's still important to have that. But the joint account, it creates trust.
We're gonna have to wrap in a little bit, but I wanted you to tackle this issue. Now, many of us would have been raised in homes, especially girls, and they tell you, when you approach a relationship, many women say that your money is our money, but my money is my money.
Hell yeah.
Is that a good premise?
As I said, you have your account for your own independence, but you still need, and it's his money is his money. He still needs to have his own independence, right? But you still need to have a platform where you have shared goals, shared dreams, and you have an account, an investment account that you can work towards those shared goals and shared dreams. Very, very important.
Thank you so much, Jodianne. Those are very useful tips that I know my co-host will be taking home to check on their finances, and I will use them to plan for my marriage.
We prophesy, we prophesy.
I won't tell you any more, but stay with us. Come back right after this break.
I get up, I am woman, I ain't got no
It's that time on It's a Woman's World where you get to see how we explore Jamaica. Floyd, I have to tell you, I have never been anywhere like this before. How you even come up with the idea to start this?
Well, it was really a dream of mine. I didn't really build it as a bar. Used to be at my personal silly hangout. And then after 1 year and a guy from the south side was taking guests from Jakes to the river. So he stopped by and said it's a nice place to turn into a bar.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you though, in the middle of the ocean, you said it started out as like your little hangout place.
Yeah, exactly.
What made you think, let me have a place in the middle of the ocean?
To hang out.
Yeah.
It was really a dream of mine, so I just worked on it. I didn't build it as a bar. It was built just by me alone. I didn't get anywhere, but I just collect all that I could collect, whether from the sea and the shore and the bushes. And just bring it down.
Yeah, man. So a lot of interesting people must have come here. Who's like the most famous person?
You two and the rest of us.
Yeah, but I say, but not sweet is it?
No, that's reality. We are really present how dealing, so
Nice.
we have to fit in ourselves in the making.
This is beautiful.
A lot of people from all over the world. A lot of stars, a lot of different kind of perspectives of life.
And they have some nice beer and food and
The whole world.
see all the man them play domino run and back
Yeah,
and
that's
thing.
true. And you have a little music.
Yeah.
The board is a guest book, so everyone could sign in the
Yeah.
same. You could hang whatever you choose. You could bring a book to read. You can meet friends. That's how it is.
Well, Floyd, if this was a dream and it came to fruition, I don't know what you're going to dream of next. Because this, like, I don't know how much better than this it gets. That's amazing. Thank you.
So Floyd had a really nice vibe.
Yeah.
I like Floyd.
Yeah, he's
You
nice.
just itch up in a Floyd face, so.
Floyd was a charmer, believe me.
But you know what? I was really surprised. I did not know that those places exist. I thought I was legit gonna die.
She go with one something out there.
Really, Karen, after you had the whip and everything?
One piece
Yeah.
of
So
excitement.
disappointed in you.
But before that, and then we saw Flipper. I didn't know that we had Jamaica, like dolphins out here, not in dolphins.
Did he like do the thing in patois? It was in patois?
No, but that would have been awesome. That's it for us here on It's a Woman's World. We will see you next week. As you were.
Get up, I am
Clothing
woman,
provided
I
by
ain't
Heather
got
Lane.
no time to
Hair
waste.
styled by Hair Extreme.
With my head down, no. Oh, oh, oh. I am woman, it's a woman's world. And I live my life on purpose. Oh, 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 oh. Woman to woman. This is what we're about to do now. Shaping the future.
It's a Woman's
This
World was
is
brought to you by
our
NCB Capital Markets, Red Stripe, Toyota Jamaica, M Style XP, Phase 3 Productions, and Heather Lane.
live my